This your boy G, and welcome back to Essential G. My channel might as well just be called like Beards, Booze, and Bikes at this point. Allergies killing me, so bear with the voice if I'm snorting and a snuffing, a huffing, and a puffing. Yeah. And I thought I'd get out for a ride. I gotta fix my clock. I think it's an hour off. Anyway, I wanted to talk about why I chose the Harley Electric Glide Ultra Classic instead of an Indian. If you look at my channel, you know, the main gist of the bike stuff that's on it is walk-arounds and demo rides. And you'll see that the longer this went on, the more it kind of like honed into just a couple of different things that I was after. And I really had it down to like a Honda Goldwing, a BMW, the big one, the 1600K, touring stuff now I'm talking about, and the Indian and the Harley. And I really decided that at some point I made a decision that I wanted the Indian or the Harley. And you know, if you watch my reviews, you'll see the triple C's: coolness, cost, and capability. And if I'm being honest, it was just really down to the coolness and the aesthetic for me. I just could not get myself to pay, you know, $15,000 to $35,000 for an aesthetic that I didn't like. And the aesthetic that I liked was the Indian and the Harley type of aesthetic, that old 1950s aesthetic. So you'll see me say bad things and good things about both the Indian models and the Harley models. Eventually I decided to get this. This was the final bike. So why? It really comes down to, I'm going to say this, it really came down to, for me, the two factors. The aesthetic, I thought was nicer on the Harley. And then the fact that I was buying used was the other factor. So I'll stop in a second. I'll show you some of the things I like about the aesthetic of this bike. But first, let's talk about the used factor. I think it's a gigantic factor in the used market, and that is that you're looking for touring bikes and you're interested in the Indian and Harley, and basically there is no market for used Indians because the company is so new. So you're just left with looking at Harleys. Now, you will, if you really look like I did, if you spend a couple years searching every website, visiting every single place that might have a used bike that you're interested in, going to all the demos, every area you can find, and checking their used sections, you'll find some used Indians. But you won't find anything regularly in the way that you'll find in a Harley. And here's what I mean. I wanted a bike that looked like it was pampered, had low miles on it, and had lots of extras. And this is the thing, there are so many Harleys out there that, like, you can find that easily. So when I was looking at this bike, I was looking at this and the touring, the Road Glide Ultra. They had two that I was interested in because they were not as old, lower miles, and tons of extras. Now, by the time I got, this place was an hour away. I don't like very many of the local Harley dealers, if I'm being honest, with the exception of maybe Atlantic City Harley. By the time I got there, the Road Glide Ultra was taken. So it kind of left me with just this, and I was actually a little hesitant because I had never driven with apes that are up this high, and I do a whole video on ape hangers if you want to see this. Just go check out my channel and look for that. It's one of the newer videos. But if I decided to walk away that day, I would have found 2 more models, and 2 more, and 2 more, and 2 more, and 2 more used Harleys that had low miles, had been taken care of, and had tons of extras. Now let's just hit the extras real quick. There's so much more available for a Harley Davidson on the aftermarket than any other bike. The Indian just doesn't even have a chance of matching it. Like, maybe like BMW could hold, you know, a candle to it, because their bikes have been around for forever, and they might have a couple models that have been out there for a while. But Indian, like, no chance. No chance. So, in the end, I decided that I'm going to look used, because I can find a good used Harley that's a touring bike that'll fit all my needs. And I kind of learned what my needs were as I went, which is expensive and not the smart way to do it. And I settled on, I want a touring bike, a 2-up comfort on-road touring bike. And you just cannot match it. Like, you can't. Like, I found, I think, one Indian with 10,000 miles on it, so close to this, that was like a 2000 and, I don't know, I'm gonna say 13. It was that Indian Chieftain red. I went and saw it, and I mean, the paint was just hideous. It was before Indian had decided to upgrade their paint. You know, that being said, nobody, not even in the automobile industry, equals Harley Davidson's paint, and there's nobody that's even like a close second place. Mercedes a few years back actually hired Harley Davidson painters to go to Germany and teach them to paint. So, like, you know, you just can't, in the used market, find the equivalent thereof. And so you'd have to really, if you're going to get an Indian over a Harley, you'd have to really be like, because the Indian is your thing, it's specifically what you want, there's no doubt or confusion in your mind, you like everything about it, and you don't like everything about the Harley, and for your money, you're definitely 100% want the Indian. And I wasn't there. I liked them both, and I disliked some of the things about both as well. Now, the aesthetic, I do like the touring model aesthetic for Harley more than I like Indian. And I'm going to try and pull over and show you specifically why, but this road right now, it's like I'll be pulling into somebody's neighborhood, so it'd be kind of weird. So I'm going to talk those things out, and then I'm going to stop and point them out to you. The first thing is, I liked on the Harley how the bags on the side were tucked under. I felt that although I can understand from a usability standpoint why you would want them sticking and jutting out, you know, if you're gonna drop a lot of money on a motorcycle, I think how it looks is like the, you know, what it does to you when you look at it, like is like the main thing. And I just couldn't, you know, I look at one, I look at the other, and I thought, I can't do it. I got to go with this other thing here. It's Harley. having the bags tucked in tight, you know, Harley talks all about like 110 years of R&D, you know, like we all know, like, to scoff at that, right? Like, they weren't taking notes for the last 110 years on everything their riders say. And, you know, we know from their history that there was a point where they, you know, in the 70s where if you weren't a mechanic, you better not buy a Harley. So that, you know, where was the R&D there? But here's the thing. You know, some of that does, you know, people riding your motorcycles for 110 years as they evolve into the newer bikes, it does eventually add up to smarter concept when it comes to design. The other thing was the rear trunk. You know, everybody in the industry wants to give you like the largest, like you can put a blue whale in our touring bike and they can only put, you know, like a killer whale in theirs. So look, obviously you want our bike, but I didn't look at it that way at all. Because I've actually traveled extensively, I understood that I didn't need a blue whale and I didn't want my bike weighed down by a big beluga just because I could. And I will tell you that with this twin cam 103 and the engine that's on that Indian, this will pull the extra weight a little sooner, a little bit less of what's almost seems like the bike is a little bit too heavy for the engine. So the rear trunk and the, you know, in this is small and like it fits the design of like looking cool even though it's a touring bike. And then the other thing is, if you look at these floorboards, like this shifter is tucked in and out of the way. And these like things, little things like that, they really added up for me, particularly as I demo rode. I'm gonna maybe pull in here and show you what I mean, as I use no turn signal and should have died for that. That was really dumb. So for me, in the end, neither bike is perfect, and I have friends that are fans of both, but I went with this. So let me show you what I mean. Here. See the bags? They don't open straight up. They're like tucked under. And it just gives it a look like someone actually cared about the design of the thing. Same thing with this, like it looks small compared to some of the stuff that people have now, but actually 2 full helmets with stuff strapped to the helmets, microphones and all kinds of crap go in that. And it has a clean look to it, like look at that. So I was really digging it. And then, you know, this thing that I just pointed out, how it's like kind of in, and it's funny because you don't do this for it, like you don't search and search and search, it's just right, it's just like right there, boom, you click it and then kind of flip your foot back down. Overall, the aesthetic of the bike, I mean, look at it, I really am digging it. And that is why I went with the Harley over the Indian, guys. Now this cost me $16, but because I financed it, you know, it's probably $19 when I'm done or something. So if you're not willing to pay $35 for a brand new bike, and you are into this style of bike, and you want a touring bike, I think that you have to look at this stuff that I'm talking about right now, and you have to say to yourself, like, does this guy have a point? And I'm telling you, there's no used market. for a big touring Indian. But there's a, 100,000 of them out there for you if you're looking at a Harley. And you'll find every extra you can possibly think of, and then you're getting a good buy. You're suddenly able to get a good deal. Now, I got all kinds of extras I won't even talk about, like this has so much pull because the stage 1 is done on it. So this is your boy G. That's why I chose a Harley Davidson touring bike over an Indian. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Riding season's coming, but we'll see how it goes. Your boy G, and I'm out. Peace.